Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episodes 3 and 4 of Dororo. We're getting to some more Dororo today. We're doing 2 episodes partially because we didn't get to this series last week, I believe, and partially because I just want to. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, I got episode 4 from a different source than I got episode 3 from. So I don't know if the quality is going to be different or if the subtitle quality is going to be different or anything like that. I just don't know. So I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I'm probably going to end up going with this new source from here on just because it's a little easier and quicker. But we'll see. We'll see. So in the last episode we had Dororo and Hyakamaru, something like that, go to this village. And while there, they helped out the village by ending up slaying the demon that was kind of leading them and everything. And they met the old priest guy. He seems like he's going to be a bigger role in this. Things are happening. So we'll just have to see where it goes from here. Sorry also for the lighting and everything right now. It's like really dark outside. It's very overcast today. It's only 1 p.m. as of right now, so I have to have both lights on for the lighting in here to be even somewhat good. So I apologize for that if it's a little off. Not really much of anything I can do about that, though. It's because of what it's like outside. Um, so far I'm enjoying this series. So far I'm really liking this. I'm really interested in where it's going to go. I mean, we've only seen 2 episodes before now, but still. Um, and yeah, we're going to continue for the foreseeable future. I'm hoping to maybe try start doing 2 episodes at once, though, from here on out, maybe. As much as I can, of course. Like, if I can only do 1 at any certain point, or only want to do 1, then I'm going to, but I was thinking of wanting to try and do 2 to catch up, because there's, comparatively, like, last week I got to a lot of donation reward movie reactions, but there's also quite a lot of shows to get through still. Not just the stuff we have to continue, like Dragon Prince and Miraculous and all, but there's other stuff that we have yet to start. So it's like, we still got plenty to go through in terms of donation reward shows. And I want to try to get to that. So hopefully we'll be able to without too much issue. So yeah, I want to try and get through Dororo a little quicker. Not to say I want to like just fly through it, or not to say I want to just get through it and be done with it or anything. No, it's just I want to be able to get to the other stuff too. Because, like, honestly, I theoretically could open up another reaction space slot. I don't know why I said space. I could theoretically open up another reaction slot and have a second donation reward show going on at once, at least for the time being, until I get more caught up. Because again, there's quite a few of them. And by the way, that does not mean you should feel bad about donating and adding more to the list. If you want to donate, and if because you want to see me react to something, continue to do so, please. Don't think that I'm saying anything against that just because I'm trying to get a little more caught up. Um, so yeah, if you still want me to get to a show, if you still want to make sure I react to something, uh, please feel free to donate if you can. I'm just saying, I do want to at least start getting caught up. And again, theoretically, I could open up another slot, but it's like, I mean, I don't always get to everything in a week as it is. Like, again, missing Dororo last week. Um, because there's already a lot to do. And especially with One Piece alone, like that reaction is like usually 4 episodes in a video. So it's just, there's a lot to get to, and I feel like if I add another slot, it'll just be like even more and everything that I might have a chance of missing on a weekly basis. And mind you, as I've said, of course, we don't have a schedule, and because of that, yeah, we can go a week or two off from certain shows and everything, but I don't want to put too much on my plate. As you know, in the past, I do that a lot. I end up putting too much on the plate, and then I end up getting burnt out, and I end up having to cut back again. Um, and obviously, I wouldn't like have two donation reward slots permanently. It'd just be like until I caught up and everything. But still, if I did do that, I would probably have to take a break. Like, if I did do that, I would probably have to end up taking a break at some point, like a week off or something. Either during this or after I get caught up and take away that slot again. Um, and obviously, this slot would just be for that. Like, even after I got caught up and everything, it's not like I would replace that slot with something else. No. Once I would get caught up, that slot would disappear and it'd go back to what it's at now. It's just a matter of, do I really want to add another slot? Because if I do, it's very likely I will not be able to get to everything every single week. Like, currently, I've actually been doing pretty fairly well. Like last week, yeah, I missed one thing, but it's like I've been doing very reasonably well in the recent weeks, where I've been getting most, if not everything, up on a weekly basis. And I've been really almost proud of that. Like, I'm glad that I've been able to push myself to do that. But at the same time, like I said, it's like I don't want to have to force that and like overexert myself too much. And of course, like, easy solutions, like, oh, well, don't force yourself to do it. Just react to what you want to when you want to, which is, I guess, technically what I already do. And if you don't get to something a certain week, then you don't get to it. And I've been doing something recently as well, where I've been downloading everything that I need to at the beginning of each week. Like yesterday, for example, Sunday, I downloaded all the reactions that I needed to download, or all the videos that I needed to react to, rather, that would be like possibly coming this week. I downloaded the Digimon episode, I downloaded all the One Piece episodes, yada yada. And it's like, so I'm prepared ahead of time. So everything's already downloaded. Even if I'm not going to necessarily react to it right away, or even if I end up missing something. Like episode 3 of Dororo was downloaded last week. I've had that downloaded for a week. I just didn't get to reacting to it last week. So doing that as well might also help. If I continue to do that, that might also help me like keep on track with things and everything. So I'm going to think about that a little more. And if you can, tell me what you think in the comments below. I would like to hear your thoughts on that too, if possible. Maybe I'll put it in the Discord as well. But if I do this, I'm going to say that it's very likely I won't be able to get to everything every week as I have been recently. That some shows might miss a week here and there. But I'll try to still get to everything as much as I can, of course. It just might take some things a little longer. and it might like cut certain things out from a week or whatnot. It's just, and again, it would be completely temporary, so it's not like it'd be a permanent thing that would overload me for too long. It would just be to catch up. Just have two donation rewards running at the same time, basically. To be fair, that would also probably cut down on other reactions and stuff like movies. Those wouldn't be, I guess, as often and stuff. Like I said, I'll think about it. I'll update you when I've made a decision. But anyways, I went on kind of a tangent about that. We're on Dororo specifically. This donation reward. Um, so yeah. Either way, I'm excited for where this series is going to go for now. Um, and I have a lot of hopes for it too. Like, I think this could be something really interesting. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time or if I thought about it after I recorded the last thing, but I want to mention it here just in case. You know how in like these first two episodes Hyakumaru defeats this demon and then he gets like some piece of his physical body at the end and everything? What if somehow there's a point where he does where it's like continues to do this for a little, but then at one point it just doesn't. Like he defeats the demon and he's expecting to get something back, and Dororo's expecting him to get something back, but it doesn't happen. And then it just stops happening for a bit. And it's like that would be really interesting because it would kind of add this new mystery to things. It would kind of make you wonder why it was happening in the first place and why it suddenly stopped. So that would be a really interesting idea, I feel. Anyway, we're just gonna get on with this reaction because I went on that tangent about the donation reward reactions, um, and just I want to either way get into this. Plus, I want to record something else today as well if I can. Um, so yeah. uh, let's just get on with this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Um, So I want to point this out real quick because I actually looked back on at the end of the episode to make sure I saw that right, and yeah, um, Tohomaru, I think it is. I think it's Tohomaru. I just like opened it up to check his name too, and now I'm not even sure anymore. Tanosuke. Why did I think Tohomaru? What? No, Tanosuke. Um, Tanosuke, when he died at the end, you could see it on his face when his sister Osushi was crying over him. He had a smile on his face. He had a smile in death. And I think it's because he was finally at peace. He was finally free of the cursed sword, Nihiru. He he had been under its spell for 5 years, serving under it, and his mind completely destroyed by it, completely becoming subservient to it, to the point where even when separated from the sword, there was really nothing he could do. There was really no way he could go back to how he used to be. I mean, yeah, he recognized his sister, but the only thing his mind could focus on was getting Nihiru back. And that's really sad. Unfortunately, I don't think there was a way at that point to stop him without killing him. He was too far gone. He was not a bad guy. He was an innocent victim in this. But he was so far gone that he was unfortunately beyond saving. Um, but let's actually start from episode 3. So episode 3 is the story of Jukai. Jukai was serving under Lord Shiba. He was killing and nailing people to crosses. Um, a very Roman thing of him to do. I know I understand other cultures have done that, but yeah, that's the thing I automatically think of because I'm a Christian, so of course I think of like Roman crucifixions, and admittedly I think of course Jesus on the cross. That's a kind of a big symbol to Christianity. um, so yeah, I think of the Roman crucifixions. Like that was even mentioned in Has Been Hotel. Like during the every inside of every demon is a rainbow song. It's like it specifically refers to it as Roman crucifixions. Um, but yeah, it's like we see it happening here and stuff, and we see him kill this woman. I believe, at least I believe it was him. It looked like it might have been someone else, but it also looked like he might have been the only one there. So I'm unsure. But he saw the woman and saw her tears on her dead body and everything, and it's like he realized how fucked up what he was doing was, and tried. He threw himself off the cliff, off of the cliff there to the rocks below, and somehow survived. According to what he said, he was picked up by fishermen or something like that. Um, and since then, he dedicated himself to becoming a doctor and specializing in prosthetics. We see he saved a young orphan boy and started serving others around. But eventually, this woman and her child came. After helping them, uh, his apprentice ends up finding out from the woman that there have been rumors about Jukai's past. And so he finds out about it. Jukai fully admits to it, which you got to give him credit for. He does not, once it's found out, he does not try to hide it. He does not try to deny it. He openly admits to it. But because of it, his apprentice attacks him and only stops and ends up leaving because Jukai says that he wants to at least finish helping this boy first. Then the apprentice can kill him if he wants. But no, the apprentice just like he removes his prosthetic leg that Jukai had given him and leaves. I don't know if we'll ever see that guy again, the apprentice, but yeah, he completely forsook his again, I don't know if it's forsook, but he completely abandoned his prosthetic leg just because he couldn't trust it anymore. He couldn't trust Jukai anymore. Even though he had no reason before this to not trust him. Because of the fact that he served Lord Shiba, and Lord Shiba was the cause of this kid's father's death, that trust just went out the window. And I understand why. I get it. And I think Jukai did too, which is why he said, like, after I finish this contract, you can do whatever you want. You can kill me if you want. It's just let me help this boy first. And I think that's also the reason why the apprentice chose to leave instead of killing him right then and there, because he did see that spark of good in him still. But we see, like, after that, we see that Jukai ends up stumbling upon Hyakimaru when he was a baby still. When he was still in that basket and everything traveling down the river that the midwife put him in. He stumbles upon the basket upon Hyakimaru and agrees to, well, just offers to help him basically. He gives him the prosthetics, he raises him, he helps him learn to fight, and eventually he realizes that Hyakimaru is drawing these creatures in and that he has his own kind of destiny. And that although he would like Hyakimaru to be free of that, he knows that he can't. But he also sees that Hyakimaru, like after slaying the demon, regrew his leg. Well, actually, just grew his leg in the first place, and not really regrew. And so he ends up sending Hyakimaru on his way to kind of make his own path, his own journey. And from what we can see afterwards, Jukai also did the same, becoming a nomadic doctor, going around giving prosthetics to the dead as a form of like honor. And it really makes sense when you know where he came from. Like, yeah, already it's like you can kind of understand that, you can kind of get that. But once you know where he came from, once you know what he did under Lord Shiba, the idea that he goes around giving corpses prosthetics, just limbs, eyes, whatever, it makes perfect sense. He's, even though he claims that it's not really his intent to make up for what he did, you know he is trying to at least do what he can to make a positive impact. That he wants to help people. Even if they're already dead, he wants to honor them, honor their memories, honor their lives. And yeah, you got to believe part of it has to be to make up for what he did. But he doesn't view it that way. He just views it as, I want to do good. I did bad for so long. I just want to do good now. And you got to respect that. But yeah, and then going back to episode 4, which I kind of started these afterthoughts on, yeah, all about this cursed sword. Hyakimaru's learning to deal with being able to feel shit for the first time. And then this cursed sword comes along. We find out it's the brother of this girl who Hyakimaru and, well, more so, Dororo met. And that he's been under this curse for 5 years, ever since he was given the sword by his lord. The lord had given it to him in order to commit seppuku with, initially. But he ended up, thinking of the paper crane, thinking of his sister. And I assume that his thought process was that he didn't want to die. He wanted to return to her. So he took the sword and instead used it to kill the guy that he was being ordered to kill in the first place. However, it was at that point that the sword took control of him, and his initial goal was lost to him. And so he ended up slaughtering everyone there, and just becoming this phantom killer, or whatever the exact nickname was. And we can see throughout this that Hyakimaru is doing his best not to kill him. He's fighting him, but he's not trying to kill him, because he can see his aura is gray. He has a good aura. He's a good person. But the aura of the sword is red. It's evil. So he's trying his best not to kill him, because he knows it's not his fault. It's the sword. And when Dororo is taken by the sword as well, after it's separated from oh my God, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble remembering his name, Tenosuke. After it's separated from Tenosuke, and Dororo gets the sword, you can see he tries to separate the sword from Dororo, because not only does he recognize that Dororo's aura once again is gray, but at the same time, I'm sure, can tell who Dororo is at that point. I'm sure he can at least tell by the shape of the aura and shit, the shape and size of it, so he knows who that is, that's the one he's been traveling with. So he tries and succeeds to separate it from him before Dororo gets too possessed by it. Unfortunately, Tenosuke returns, and at this point, like I said before at the beginning, it's just too late, and I think he realized that there was no saving Tenosuke at that point. So he did what he had to do in order to stop it for good. He had to kill Tenosuke in order to break the sword at that point. And as much as it's going to hurt Osashi, as hard as that's going to be, especially since she and Tenosuke had already lost their parents. Now she lost her brother as well. She's completely alone. And while the sword was broken and the curse was lifted and Tenosuke got to die in peace, while Hyakimaru received another piece of himself by gaining his ears and being able to hear for the first time in his life, this was not what I'd call a happy ending. It was a necessary ending. Like I said, it was the only real way to end this at this point. It was the only real way it could go. But it was not a happy ending. Osashi is like, that's going to affect her for the rest of her life. Hell, she might become suicidal because of that. It's perfectly believable. Because, again, she's lost everything. Her parents, her brother now, her home, everything is gone. She has nothing left. And even if she were able to find something, find someone she could end up being with, she would have so many painful memories still. It would haunt her for the rest of her life. So it's not happy. It didn't end well. Now, also in the first episode, the Jukai episode, one thing to also mention is that it showed the one guy. I wonder if it says his name here. Lord Daigo, that's his name. It shows Daigo's other son, his second son, who was kind of basically bred as a replacement for Hyakimaru. Because after Hyakimaru was seen as worthless and everything, Lord Daigo had him sent, initially to be killed, to be drowned in the river and everything. But he doesn't even know that Hyakimaru's alive. But then he basically told his wife, "It's like, no, we're gonna just try again. We're just gonna basically replace that son because he made a deal with the devil, and that's what was taken. His firstborn child was born without mostly anything. Let's be honest. No eyes, no nose, no ears, no senses, no skin." And it's like, he did it all for, to a degree, his people, but more so, he wanted the power, and he wanted his people to be well off so he could rule over them. He wanted people to serve him. And he even though his wife loved her first child despite everything, and still does, still misses him and still thinks about him, he forced her to have another child for his sake, to have a successor, and has been raising him that way, and his new child loves him dearly. But of course he does. He's been raised to, basically. But you can see the entire time, all the mother is thinking about is her first child, who she still misses and still just is constantly thinking about. Now, I said in the reaction, but there was a very big contrast being shown between the way both Hyakimaru and his brother, who again, neither of them know about each other, but there's a big contrast on how they were being raised. And I definitely feel like it's going to culminate at some point with them coming into contact with each other. I feel like they're going to meet and maybe even fight something's going to happen. I don't know when, but I definitely feel like that's where this could be going. Um, I just feel like they wouldn't set that up for nothing. Not to mention the entire stuff with Lord Daigo in the first place clearly is like going to be more than just Hyakimaru's backstory. It's going to lead somewhere. Just like the backstory we got for Jukai in episode 3 here is going to lead somewhere. Jukai has been built up through the first 2 episodes. We know he's going to make a return, and he's probably going to come in contact with Hyakimaru again. And maybe it's going to be after Hyakimaru gets back a lot of, or even most of his senses. And at that point, maybe he'll even be able to talk with Jukai. Maybe he'll be able to communicate and actually see him and hear him for the first time. We don't know exactly how that's going to go. We don't know how far down the road that's going to be. There's a lot that we could just think about with that. And then there's Dororo himself, the title character of this series. And although this show seems to focus more on Hyakimaru, Dororo, again, clearly has to be building up to something. Like, there's got to be something about Dororo that's important and special beyond just the fact that he's kind of acting as a guide/friend for Hyakimaru. He's helping lead him around and helping, well, in some cases, control him when he gets a little out of hand. So there's got to be more to him than that. At least there's got to be something that becomes more. That's how I'm viewing it, at least. But yeah, these 2 episodes were really good. I really enjoyed them, and I'm really excited to see where this continues to go. Not only with Hyakimaru growing his body parts after having not had them since his birth, but just why is this happening too? Like, why is it whenever he kills a demon, or in this case, a demon sword, why is that causing his like lifelong non-existent body parts to grow in? Why does he suddenly like get skin? Why does he suddenly get a nervous system? Why does he suddenly get hearing? Why is this happening? Is it some kind of like part of the contract that his father, Lord Daigo, signed with the demons back then? Or is it because of something he's doing? Is there something more to the fact that he's slaying these demons? Maybe these demons are like the ones who, I guess you could say in a way, own the parts that he was born without. And it's like by slaying them, he earns them back in some way. I don't know. I hope that's explained, at least to some degree, at some point. But we'll have to see. But I'm very excited to see where this goes. This is fantastic so far. Like, I can't believe, whichever one of you was the one who said it, I can't believe you thought I wouldn't like this. Like, this is great. And not necessarily the best anime I've seen, but I really like it. So yeah, I'm very much excited to see where this goes. We'll continue to react to it as we do. And tell me in the comments below what you thought of these 2 episodes of Dororo. In the meantime, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.